The next type of airspace we're going to talk about is Class B airspace. Now, when you think Class B, think busy. So this type of airspace only surrounds the country's largest airports like New York, Minneapolis, Houston, Atlanta, those types of things. This is for busy airspace, and for drone pilots, we want to stay away. Now, the fun thing about Class B airspace is this looks like an upside-down wedding cake. So I'm going to draw an example for you here. I'm going to use Minneapolis as an example. And here's the ground. And here is MSP. And let me draw this upside-down wedding cake for you. It sort of goes out like this on all sides of the airport. It starts on the surface in the middle, and then it extends upwards the further out you go. And of course, the reason it looks like this is so pilots who are flying into this airspace are protected, and same for takeoffs. Now, if you're a private pilot, and let's say you want to take your little Cessna 152 or a little Piper Cub, and you want to go flying, well, you can ask to get into this Class B airspace, and if it's not too busy, the controllers might let you fly through it. But a lot of times, they're going to make you stay outside, and they're going to route you around this airspace. This airspace is not for the little planes. This is mostly for the large airliners and for military operations so that they have a protected area to operate in. Now, I mentioned this upside-down wedding cake. If you look at it on an aeronautical chart, it looks a lot like this. So here is the Class B airspace for Minneapolis. We start in the middle. Here's the airport. And if you notice all of these concentric rings that go around the airport, each one of these rings corresponds to one of these steps in our upside-down wedding cake diagram. All right, so here's a step, here's a step, here's a step, here's a step. Now, in addition to these rings, you are going to see numbers. These numbers indicate the altitude of the Class B airspace inside that ring. So if we start in the middle here where the airport is, you can see that this section, the airspace starts at the surface. That's what the SFC stands for. And the Class B airspace extends all the way up to 10,000 feet MSL. So this top number is the ceiling of the Class B airspace. The bottom number is the floor of the Class B airspace. These are always in hundreds of feet MSL, so you're going to add 2 zeros to these numbers all the time. If we go to the next ring to the south, okay, that's this ring. That's everything inside here. Take a look at these numbers. Well, here, the floor of the Class B airspace starts at 2,300 MSL, and the ceiling still goes up to 10,000 MSL. So let's go back to our diagram here. We know that from the map, the top of that Class B is 10,000 feet MSL. In the middle, it starts at the surface. This layer right here starts at 2,300 feet MSL. What is the next ring? If we go further to the south, what's this section right here? Well, we can find the numbers here. Again, it goes all the way up to 10,000. But the floor of this ring is 3,000 feet MSL. So if we go back to our diagram, that is this section right here. And we're going to say this section starts at 3,000 feet MSL. Now the next one to the south, right here, this big ring, well, the floor of the Class B airspace here starts at 4,000 feet MSL, and the ceiling of the Class B goes up to 10,000 feet again. So this last outer ring goes up to 4,000 feet MSL. Now, what I want you to be careful of is this. Just because you see a number in one of these rings, it does not mean that that altitude goes all the way around in a complete circle. So, for example, take a look at this. This southern part is 4,000, right? And out here it's 7,000. But if you go a little bit to the north, now the floor is 6,000. And if you go to the north again, this section, the floor is 4,000. And they're separated by these dividing lines. So sometimes the FAA does take chunks out of this Class B airspace for different types of traffic patterns. So again, just because you see a number, don't assume that those altitudes are the same all the way around the circle.